Welcome to Thursday. It's Thursday all day, and I'm back in the office. Well, I've been in the office the whole time. I've just not had the cameras running. And yesterday, there wasn't even a show of any kind, which was really sad. I like when we have shows. It is far better. Where'd my mouse go? It is far better to go live with you than not. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. It's kind of my thing. It's my bag, baby. That's what I do. Now, for those who say, is this all you do? You're a TikTok streamer? No, the last 2 weeks have really been the shining example of I have things that I do outside of streaming that take priority. And that's why I haven't been around so much. So apologies to you for my absenteeism. My absence, my doing of other things instead of giving you attention. Did a couple of lightning round shows, 15, 20 minutes. That wasn't bad. It was kind of interesting. Not what I'm used to, not what you're used to, but we dealt with it. We got through it. Zombie, first one in the room, says, good morning, coming in from Twitch. We are on all sorts of platforms. And thank you for Northern Pike likes the 70s disco vibe intro music. I like this too, and I got to tell you, truth be told, this is stuff that came preloaded on the Rodecaster Pro. I have all sorts of music that I love, and maybe I'll play one in a bit. But I do like that era. Maybe we'll make a custom song with input from y'all today. I've been having a lot of fun with Suno, and if I had more time to prepare it today, I would have actually created one, knowing that we were going to do stuff and things. But this, even though the project is done, there's still some tweaks, and okay, I'm back, and my computer, my laptop, my primary device, it no worky. It has died. It said we ran into a problem. It had to restart. So please let me know if you can see this, because stuff is broken, and I'm on a different computer logging that I had logged in. Let me see if I can. This is moving on the fly, folks. Hang on a second. Logging back into the computer that had a problem. It's always nice to have problems. Yeah, but we're still going. Let me see if we're back. Okay, good. Yeah, this was a very quick recovery. Redundancy. We're all about redundancy. We're not really about a redundancy. Okay, just want to make sure the other platforms, because things are, we'll just move on. Let me log into TikTok. Stand by. Because I can't see any comments, or at least it may not be live now. Okay, live now is still working, so I got that window up. Let me get my sidecar going. Maybe sidecar won't work. All right. User is live streaming, waiting to connect with the streaming tool. All right, cool. All right, we're back. Is it going to work? Instagram, I think we're not going to see the Instagram. That's off into the window. Yeah, that other computer is toast. If it comes back, we'll be able to see the other windows. Until that time, though, let's talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Do I even have it on screen? No, but you know what? I've got a computer, I've got a phone in my hand, and I got Twitter on it, so I can get the information that I need to read. So what is Vision Zero Enforcement Team? What is it? It is a dedicated group of officers who focus every day on changing driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do such a great job at it. I really got to say that I have the utmost respect for them because they focus on the big four. That's this button here. When I put the big four, there we go. Speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. It's serious stuff. It leads to serious injury and death on the roads, and that's why they focus their efforts on it. People say, well, they don't like the fact that we are, focused on these things. Too bad. It really is the stuff that leads to serious injury and death on our roads, and we want the vision zero. We want the goal of 0 deaths on our roads. That's it. That's the story behind it. It's not that complicated. Let's see here. Now, where are they today? They are focused on 14 Division and 43 Division. Those are neighborhoods like Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. Yes, they do. They deserve to be safe. And we want them to be safe. So we announce where we are so they know that we're there working diligently to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. All right. What I may not have mentioned is, actually, I know I didn't mention it because I hadn't pressed the button, but let's press the button. You're probably watching on one of these platforms because we are currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course, X. And X now allows you to ask us questions. So if you've never asked a question on X because you thought you couldn't, those were the days of old and no longer. We've moved into a new realm, a realm where you can ask questions from pretty much every platform, even though I can't see Instagram right now. Also, just to let you know, after this episode is done, we download it, we recombobulate it a bit, and then we push it back up into the cloud to go on to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that jazz. So you got options. But this is a question and answer kind of show. It's a show that is for you, and in order for you to get answers, you got to ask questions. So please feel free to do just that. But let's continue to, what is this? Oh, Northern Pike apologizing for not having been around lately, missing the last few episodes. Hey, you can make it up. You don't have to make it up. You can certainly go back and listen. But joining live is obviously the best way to play. It's just what it is. It's the best way to go. And we've got Tim Shallow who says, good morning, Sean. And we have a dad joke that'll flag for stuff and things in a little bit. Oh, we have the computer back. Maybe we can try and get some more screens up. All right. We got Julie Massey who says, good morning, Sean and everyone. And from YouTube, what YouTube Bike Boy? Let's see what they have to say. Well, I have windows popping up here. The question is, the police department in Toronto are trying to stop all car meets and modified vehicles. Do you think it's right for them to punish everyone because of a few people's actions? Well, that's actually a very interesting discussion that you've triggered here. Let's get into it. The deal is that we have police officers. Well, first of all, we have communities who don't appreciate the lawlessness that many in the car community create. That's not all people are doing it wrong. And I mean that by not everyone that has a modified car is breaking the law. That's really what's important to note here. So if you are taking your car, you're modifying it legally. That's a pretty big thing to note. If you're modifying it legally, it's no big deal, right? Do your modified thing. You can customize it. You can paint it. You can add spoilers and lower it, all within the confines of the law. No problem. Hang on a sec. I'm getting because of the other computers. Stand by.
Your future career starts with a vision. A vision of opportunities ahead, where you can see a path to a noble career, serving the city of Toronto. Where do you see yourself? Toronto Police Service. Apply today.
I'm trying to fix stuff. I'm still here. We're just having a problem. We are having a problem, folks. I don't know if you can hear me, but camera's not working. Why is it not working? I was getting a feedback loop for audio, which was why I did what I just did. Hang on. Oh, come on. If you can hear me, we're just trying to fix this, but this is not working again. And I really do want to answer this question. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, okay, UT Bike Boy. YT Bike Boy says I can hear you. So we'll continue talking even though the video is down. The story is that we're not trying to stop everybody from doing everything. We're just trying to keep people safe. And very often, even though people don't agree, is that these that many of these meets are dangerous and dangerous things are taking place. So yeah, if you're not breaking the law, you've got absolutely nothing to worry about. But so many people are breaking the law, and tinted windows is breaking the law, and making your vehicle unsafe with lowering them too much is breaking the law. So there's a lot to unpack. But that's it. Now, in other areas, in other jurisdictions, there are police services that are absolutely trying to prevent anyone from meeting, because they've gotten to the point where if they allow one, they allow more, and then if they allow more, bad actors come into play. So they've really gotten to the point where it can't happen at all. And I get it. I'm going to try and reset this camera because it's having a problem. Isn't it great when technology fails? Okay. One more time. Stand by. I can't walk and chew gum apparently. Okay, plugging in camera. And we're still not seeing. Are we seeing it? Is it being recognized now? No, it's not. Come on. Audio input. It's not seeing anything now? Get out of town. It's always nice. It's always nice. No, it's not nice. I'm not having fun with this. What to do? Maybe it zapped something? Yeah, I'm troubleshooting live. It's great. Yeah, this is not good. All right, hang on a second. Sensational wants to know, I can't control it. Actually, yes, I can. I can. Yes, the echo. That's the problem. We're having a loop. All right. And Paul says hi, and there was a question that came in from Sensational. Can a cop from Toronto pull me over in Hamilton? Isn't that just out of their jurisdiction? While we're trying to fix this, I'll try and just answer things. I can put on a background so we can have some moving features in the background. Hang on, let's do this. Is this going to work? There we go. We'll put that on there so we don't trigger any issues with the platform, because that's bad when we have issues with the platform. And this is a radio show today. How does that feel? It feels terrible because I want my stuff to work. Trying to put the camera back in here. And we might just leave the other computer not running. One more try at something. Yeah, it's working here. The PC's having issues. Like a lot of issues. Did they burn my camera? Come on. Okay, we're going to try it one more time. We're going to turn that off and reset. Am I plugging in the correct camera? It's just, let's see here. Come and find fun, they said. In technology, they said. Sorry, folks. Oh, one camera's not rebooting. When it goes wrong, apparently it goes really wrong. Do I have to reload my page? Like, I can't even get my FaceTime camera to work. Not a thing. Let's see if I can get my eCam going. I don't want to have to reboot. That would be bad. That's working, sort of. Come join me while I try and fix computers. It's fantastic. Okay, Keynote Recorder. Let's try this one. All right. I may have to reload the page. It might be out for a second because you can't see me, but I know that it's supposed to be working. All right, I'm going to reload this page. Give me a second. I'm going to play that silly video one more time just to give you... It's not silly. I actually love it, but I need to buy some time. Be right back.
Your future career starts with a vision. A vision of opportunities ahead, where you can see a path to a noble career, serving the city of Toronto.
You've been missing all the fun, the technology issues.
Where do you see yourself? Toronto Police Service. Apply today.
Okay. Hopefully, everything is now going to work, right? Everything's going to work. Zombie, are we still echoing? Are we good here? What's the story? I don't know. Either way, nothing like having issues to work through. Let's also check in to see why we lost TikTok. I'm going to try and reset the bot. Turn this off, see if it brings it back home. All right. So we know that Twitch is working. We know that YouTube is working. We might be able to. Okay. YT White Boy says everything's working, looking good. And Evandro, is advertising for us. Yes, if you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service or one of a number of police services, know that we are currently taking, there's going to be an event, and you can go to it on June 8th, and it's going to be awesome. Many services are going to be represented. I think it's at our police college. Either way, awesome stuff. Thank you, Evandro, for sharing that. Okay, so this computer went blue screen of death again, and I can't get it to work. It's no longer accepting connections to the camera. So we're using the laptop.
Wow, we're going old school.
Well, it's actually new school. It's a far better computer. We're using the Macintosh. Same camera, using the Macintosh. Not a lot of light on you. You're kind of in the dark.
Okay. Story of my life.
You're in the dark. I'm in the dark here. What movie reference? Please tell me what my horrible impression triggered for you, other than the inability to sleep tonight. Okay, we got here confirmation that we have video and audio working good on Twitch as of 10:17. Thank you. We got here your Brazil fan watching again. That's Evandro. We knew that because you shared the other information. Dua Mitzvah says, "Good morning, Sean. Thank you for your time and important information. It is my pleasure." I need that not to make noise.
Yeah, I think
that was noisy.
We need to turn that one down.
I had to put it in sleep mode so I don't get any messages. Mind you, if my wife messages, it'll still beep. Okay, G says, cheers. Camera is mirrored. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. I guess, hang on. It says mirrored camera. Now I don't mirror the camera. Thank you. See, this is why we have an amazing audience.
Yep.
They tell us stuff and things. Well, see, now
feedback.
Feedback, as long as it's not a loop.
So what's the word of the day?
I said it during the meeting. Did you hear me?
No, I didn't.
I did, but I've forgotten it now. It's escaped. Malarkey. We had a plan coming into this. We said it was going to be the malarkey episode. So rather than we want to use the word malarkey as much as possible. Apparently, let's see here. I've got the camera looks dark in here. Can I change that? Studio light, make it a little bit. Now you look like you got a heck of a tan with studio light turned on. See that? Ooh,
oh, yeah.
Okay, maybe we have to use this from now on. Gonna look good. All right. Thoughts on two cops driving a tinted Mazda 3 with no indication rather than uniforms? Well, tinted. Well, first of all, if it's their personal vehicle and they're going somewhere, they can be in a vehicle other than that. We could have a Mazda 3 as an unmarked car. I doubt it. In terms of tinted windows, as long as they're not illegally tinted, I don't have a problem with it. If someone's driving a police car, if a police officer is driving a personal car and it is tinted, I have a problem with that because it's not legal, at least if it's not legally tinted.
Right.
Okay.
You know what? Tints is all right as long as it doesn't obscure the interior.
Yeah. Mind you were able to see that they were in uniform.
Yep.
So
you'd be able to see the occupants, and so would a police officer looking into somebody else's vehicle. We sometimes have to use our own cars to go to pay duties and stuff like that. We don't have our own personal cars, police cars, so sometimes that's something we have to do.
Mm-hmm. But we should be being a good example and having our vehicles meeting all the standard requirements that everybody else has to do.
Right.
I don't tint my windows. I don't put plate covers. I don't speed. I try and be a good example. That's what I do.
You're a good guy.
I try. We have a question from James who says, "Cop gave me a stop sign ticket. How to win in court?"
Stop.
I was going to say the best way is to avoid the situation by stopping at stop signs. I know, not the answer you want, but that's pretty much the answer I give. I give the tickets. I don't give you advice to get out of tickets. Now, that reminds me of two things. One, a conversation we had just before the show went live and all the technical issues came along with it. And that is someone who's working in the building, a contractor. I came in and said, yesterday I got into a collision. I passed somebody, and when I was passing them, they pulled into me because they wanted to pass the person in front of them.
Right. We had this conversation with this gentleman. He's not a police officer, but he wanted to ask us. So he got impatient waiting at a green light because people are waiting to turn right and letting pedestrians go.
Now, granted, he was pulling into a parking spot. He just wanted to go in and around. He was trying to scoot in.
So he was trying to overtake everybody that was waiting in line to get into a parking spot, where the car in front of him wanted to overtake everybody and obviously maybe make the left turn.
Or something.
So they went into the oncoming traffic. Both of them did.
But they met in the middle.
At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
At the same place.
Not a good thing.
Who's at fault?
Well, this is where the conversation gets interesting because in a scenario where you're driving along the way and someone goes to pass you, and then you make a left turn and you meet in the oncoming lane, you've basically turned out into the path of the vehicle that's passing in oncoming traffic. Now, most people would say, well, obviously the person passing is breaking the rules. They're passing, they're in the wrong place, and you have an awful reason to turn. But you also have a responsibility to ensure that you can make that turn in safety, which makes you at fault for turning into their path and creating the collision. So that goes against most people's thinking right off the bat.
Yep.
But that doesn't absolve the person who may have been in this situation, not passing. There was no opportunity. There was no place for him to go. So that was passing. That wasn't safety because there was no place for him to finish that pass. There was no chance to say I was trying to go here, I was trying to go there. It doesn't work so good. But would it resulted in a charge? Was his move unsafe? Like we can have the conversation. He's watching now, going, I can't believe he's saying this. But the deal is we can talk about these things and have an educational conversation about the what ifs and maybes. For sure, the vehicle that turned into the contractor's car was more at fault than he was.
That's right. Because they actually made the movement. They started from the
Stop
stop
position.
position and crossed into the oncoming traffic lane without looking both directions. Now, should that person have been there? Is it reasonable to expect somebody to be there?
Well, you have to. Not only do you have to, because you have to look. You can't assume that it's safe to go. You always have to look. Shoulder checks for the win. Because it could be a pedestrian, a cyclist, anybody could, especially in the city of Toronto where everyone's sort of doing their own thing with their own rules. And you're still responsible while operating that big old vehicle. So it's a problem. But yeah, so ultimately, will there be charges laid there? Unlikely. You got the message saying you're too low?
I'm trying to get higher. That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got? Might be able to make the light brighter too. Anyway,
That's okay.
We'll live with it. We're going to go with our cool tan look today. Now here's the funny thing. It was avoidable. And we say this all the time. Collisions are avoidable, almost all of them, even the minor ones. But this one was avoidable if our friend didn't choose to try and save a second, because it's a matter of seconds or minutes.
Literally seconds.
Yeah. Everything is seconds. It's just sometimes you have to add them together to make minutes and hours and days. So yeah, patience would have removed the risk here. And the other person doing the same thing. Just having done a shoulder check would have prevented this from happening. But I was driving home last night, and there were two women who were pushing baby carriages. And I can't remember where I was at the time because it took a really convoluted route. And so two women are pushing baby carriages, and they're crossing the street in a crosswalk on a green light. And another woman was driving a G-Wagon with tinted windows and a cell phone in her hand, and nearly took both of them out. But she waved after she avoided, killing them. Right? She waved, so that was okay then. I think that was at Eglinton and Allen Road. I'm pretty sure it was. It was right there at the intersection. They were coming off the Allen, making the right onto Eglinton. Pedestrians lawfully in the intersection.
Could have changed the lives for many people in that situation.
The women,
including the person on the cell phone.
Oh, yeah,
making the turn.
And here's what's really shocking. And I was on the phone with my wife on speaker, and she said, "I wish you could go pull this person over." Because I said, as that person drove away, she went back to her cell phone. So cell phone to almost kill these people. I'm exaggerating. They didn't almost kill. They could have had it not been avoided. There wasn't an almost death situation. They avoided it. But then continued the ridiculous behavior as they drove away.
I bet you in a G-Wagon, there's probably hands-free there.
The hand was very occupied.
Which
yes,
doesn't change anything because obviously her attention was somewhere else
where
it needs to be on the road.
They were definitely distracted. Either way, pathetic, unacceptable. I wish I gave them a ticket. I would have loved to. And my dash cam is still broken, and I haven't replaced it, and that means I don't have the evidence. I would have had evidence of it. I need to test it. I found the wire. I need to test it. So little backstory. I bought a nice expensive dash cam, lasted me like a year and a month, and the warranty's no longer there. So I called them up and they said they'll give me 40% off if I send in the old one. But they want me to test it first before they can do that. Well, they said test it with a new wire. I'm like, well, where the heck do you get a new wire? I don't have a stockpile of wires for your thing. They said, well, you can go to Best Buy and try it. I'm like, I'm not going to Best Buy. So I remember that in the box, they had a 12-volt, like they have a cigarette lighter adapter version. That's what I use. But they also have the hard wire. So I got to wire it into an adapter cable and then power it up and see if that makes a difference. And I'm pretty convinced it won't.
But you got to try it.
Which is why I'm currently driving without the assistance of technology to protect my interests. I really do like dash cams, big proponent of them.
Yep, won't drive without them.
And here I am feeling unsafe. I feel unsafe. Now, the other scenario, what was the other scenario? Interesting thing, and you may be watching. It's my story. I was at a mall a couple of nights ago, and while I was there, I got a message, a DM from somebody on TikTok. And can I tell you what that TikTok said? I probably could. So it's someone who had asked me questions previously. They had asked me questions about things. We've had good dialogue, and then they asked. I probably won't be able to find this one.
I bet you people are asking questions right now.
I bet you they are, but this is important stuff.
Okay.
So they asked me a question about driving in the past. We're not going to be able to find it. And then I know they watch. I know they're engaged. They have had dialogue where they know they can access a traffic cop. And then they wrote to say, I'm 17 years old, and today I got a stunt driving ticket. I'm like, whoa. So despite all the good stuff we're doing here, you still did something you shouldn't be doing. Now, what's interesting is they said that they were charged with stunt driving, and they were only doing 28 kilometers over the limit, which doesn't qualify based on speed alone.
Right.
For stunt driving, because you have to be doing, in the speed limit that he was in, it was a 50 zone. He was doing 78.
Which
not good.
No.
Not acceptable, but not stunt driving on its face. So he says that the officer told them that they were getting a stunt driving ticket because they had 2 warnings on their history. Warnings and this now
2 warnings of stunt driving?
2 warnings of anything. Like they didn't specify, but even how to get a warning for stunt driving.
I don't think you're getting the whole story.
I don't think so. So I suggested that. In any case, the lesson that I'm really trying to convey here is if you're engaged, if you're following, if you should know what's right and wrong, and you shouldn't do what's not right. It's also possible that if their story is accurate, that the officer wasn't doing it correctly.
Yeah, could be.
They might have a defense.
Could be.
All right, getting back to stuff and things that are questions and answers and things that we talk about, because this is a show about you. So if you like to ask questions for us to answer, now that we have technology working in our favor again, yeah. His listening ears weren't on, officer. Okay. The zombie. So zombie came back and said the movie that I made a reference to earlier. I'm in the dock here. What wasn't?
Don't know.
You don't know?
Don't know.
Really?
Don't know.
Al Pacino?
I
Plays
got
a
the
character who's blind. Does anyone know the actual title? Sorry, okay. Let's see here. We got Who's the Friend with You? Who's your friend with you? The friend you're with? So YT Bike Boy, new to the channel. I don't recall ever seeing you before, so welcome officially. Sergeant Murray Campbell sitting beside me, and I am Sean Shapiro. So,
and I do this every once in a while,
as
when
much
I
as
can,
possible.
when I
Yeah.
have a moment. Last couple of weeks have just been crazy around here, so I thought I would jump on and make time today to do it. And I'm making time on my lunch.
Very nice. It has been one of those things where we've really been going gangbusters for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been busy. Okay. What is this? Please describe. Please describe the wave model and why speed causes all traffic issues. I can't speak to the wave model in particular because I'm not really familiar with that concept of I understand what you're getting at, in that if you speed up, you end up slowing down, you end up having this, well, I think it's the caterpillar model because it's the same, but speeding up, slowing down, you actually create more of a variation in terms of acceleration, deceleration, stopping, going, than if you were to keep a consistent slower speed, you actually get there faster.
Yeah. That's kind of my thought theory behind the guys that pull up to the merge lane, that's the oncoming merge lane on the highways. And they move over and they get 6 cars ahead, and then they have to jam on the brakes and then slide back in. But there's never enough room to slide back in because there's bumper to bumper traffic. So somebody has to hit the brakes. So the person behind hits the brakes. So the person behind hits the brakes. In the end, it slows down everybody.
And people who don't zipper merge drive me bananas because they jump in at the beginning and they have an entire 40 car length merge lane.
To get up to
take it
speed?
to the end. Take it up to, even if it's bumper to bumper, don't stop there because then all the traffic builds up on the ramp onto the surface roads. Use the 40 car lengths, go into the end, and then like a zipper at the end, we just take every other car, they get together, and it's easy peasy.
And everybody that is actually in the lane knows that you're coming up, knows what you're doing, can anticipate you coming in and make arrangements for it.
I like people who drive properly.
But I've never heard it called the wave.
I'm not familiar. There may be.
I understand the theory.
Yes, I agree. And I hopefully we're talking about the same thing, that we're actually on point there. When we talk about, there was a point I was going to make here, and I've lost it. Terrible. Traffic thing, whatever. We'll come back to it. If it returns to the noggin, I'll go there. But Evandro wants to know if passengers can be standing inside an RV trailer when traveling. I see this on the roads a lot. Depends on the jurisdiction you're in.
Absolutely not in Ontario. You cannot have any passengers in any type of trailer in any way.
Yeah, and if you have an RV, a proper RV, that's not a trailer, that's a full motorhome. And then there are seats that have seatbelts.
Right.
And
if you're in a vehicle, you have to be seatbelted in, no matter what. Can't get up, use a bathroom, walk around, make your lunch. No.
Can't cook while driving? Autopilot, just take me there and I'll just go make me a sandwich in the back.
Tesla motorhome, turn it on.
One day.
Yeah.
If I'm in a roundabout and I'm about to exit, but a pedestrian is crossing, where do I stop and wait? So that's an interesting question because, you have the driver in the roundabout when dealing with other vehicles has the right of way. Should pedestrians be just walking in there? At what point do they have the cue to cross?
So where is a pedestrian crossing? They're definitely not crossing through the middle of the roundabout.
That's not the safe place. The TIRF, the Traffic Injury Research Foundation, has a fantastic infographic on it. And they talk about the points at which you can cross safely and where we should be doing and why they're so much safer, even though we're playing chicken with everyone who doesn't understand how they work. And it's all day long, every day. I know that I have the right of way while I'm inside of it, but it seems that other people are racing to get ahead of me to jump in. They don't want to actually stop and wait for me to pass them. So it's interesting. Take your life in your hands.
You know what? And I'm not quite sure. You'd have to give us a little more information about where the pedestrian was trying to cross. I don't know.
Because you could take another. I've never thought about it either. So you could take another lap around, or you could stop where you are because, I don't think there'd be a visibility issue where it's not unsafe or unlawful to stop within a roundabout.
Nope.
So if they were lawfully in the intersection or crossing at one of these street points because they don't cross in the center, it's a good conversation. Zero, thank you for bringing this up because I've really never thought about it.
When you're exiting, yes, but when you're entering, you
obviously before you
have to
enter.
yield the to the past.
And it's when pedestrians are lawfully in the intersection already. They should be waiting for you to get by. And you should be signaling your intention to leave so they would be able to plan their crossing. Like, it's all about this community thing where we communicate verbally and non-verbally.
I personally love roundabouts. I think if everybody could do it properly, we would be moving. We would constantly not have to stop. And our stops would be minuscule compared to sitting at a red light for 2 minutes.
Yes. Why do officers not pull over on the 400 if clearly above speed is a safety issue? Well, Alex, they do make stops, but you'll notice that there's few of them and many, many cars and many, many people breaking the law. This is one of those things, and I was thinking about this on my way to work today. As I do every day, I drive the speed limit, and it drives people bananas, and they all pass me on the left, and I'm the slow guy on the right, and I'm doing what's legal. And I have an issue with people who are doing something that's not legal. Thus, I do the right thing. And it's so common to get away with minor infractions that people believe that that is now acceptable behavior, and it's not. And your insurance company, I would argue, might agree with me more than you. So if you were in a collision above the speed limit, and basically computers are wonderful record keepers of what your car was doing at the time of the collision, like we can go and download your computer and we'd know you were speeding. And if your insurance company knows you're speeding, I wonder what they would do to your insurance. Mm-hmm. Not only could they say that your rates are going to go up because you could have been complicit or negligent in relation to the collision, but they could even say we're not covering you because you were breaking. I think there's a lot of things they can do. I think that's going to change tremendously as we go forward. That more and more liability, when companies don't want to pay you at all, will find more reasons not to pay you. So you're putting a lot of risk beyond the chance of being more involved in a collision. I think you're putting more risk about not getting paid.
That's a big one, too.
Yes. In any case, that's not what you asked. You asked, why aren't we pulling more people over? Well, it's OPP, not us. And it's just numbers. They may be pulling people over before they see you and after they see you, but not when you see them. It's just a matter of we can't stop everybody. When you go fishing, you catch the fish you catch, and you don't catch the fish you don't catch.
That's why I think automated speed enforcement is a fantastic thing to slow down the masses. And then we will be out there to catch those here and there that are the well and truly above.
But I think that if we do, even our focus, and I say this all the time, we're looking for speeders, aggressive drivers, distracted drivers, and impaired drivers, because that's the big four that lead to serious injury and death. Is someone doing 5 over the same as someone doing 25 over, the same as someone doing 40 over? No, we're going to focus on the ones that are the highest risk. But I think that we need to stop people who are doing lower speeds once in a while to remind people what the laws are. Sylvia says, my dream job. Now, I don't know if you mean police officer or if you mean police officer on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just saying. Either way, I you know what? We're hiring. TPS is hiring, and you can go to this website and check out what we're hiring. We're actually going to look at it in a little while. Maybe this is a key to, I can't look at it here. I
don't think you can do it while you're
on this computer. Can I do it when I'm on this computer? No, I think I can't do it. Yes, I can. We're going to do this, and we're going to say TPS careers. I've never done it with this computer. All right. Let's see. Are we working? We're on the careers page. See if it updates there. Then we'll know it's working.
That one's got a bit of a.
Oh, I think I have to flip the switch. I had to flip the switch.
There you go.
Now we're good. All right. So this is the careers page. You see smiling faces like this one right here in the middle. That's Aaron. And if we scroll up, we can see that we're hiring for police. Well, these are information pages. Even when we're not hiring, this would be available. Now, if you click on police constable, you get all the great information as well as a giant button that says apply now. Is that giant or just reasonably sized?
That is reasonable.
Okay. As we scroll down.
It's bigger than normal.
It is bigger than the average button.
Yeah.
Size matters. All the information you need about becoming a police officer are found there. But there is more going on. Special constable, I don't believe we're currently hiring. There was an intake, and now we are, I think they're going through those applications. Parking enforcement, something might be happening soon. I know auxiliary officer, which is a volunteer position, there's an information session coming up. So if you want to get in on that, reach out to them. It might be information here, tps.ca/careers, like it says on screen. Wrong button. I wanted to not show you this, but I wanted to show you that, this and that. Civilian roles, because this changes all the time. And there's one more job than there was yesterday. Senior analyst, senior programmer, communications operator, and digital team developer. Those are the jobs that are currently posted. So if you are interested in one of those, serving your community through positions other than that of wearing a uniform, you can check it out. And maybe you know someone who would be loving one of these jobs. Good jobs.
Speaking of which, I got to go do some police uniform type stuff.
Go do that. It was good to have you. It was nice to be back doing a full-size show.
And Erin, is she popping in?
I don't know. Ask her if she wants to jump in.
Okay.
If you see her.
I will do.
Okay.
Bye, all.
We'll see you later. Aaron Urquhart is here in the building. Okay. Let's see what kind of questions we got while we're here. I can stop trying to zoom in. There's the roundabout. There's the. Oh, by the way, if I haven't seen the comments yet, but it was "Scent of a Woman" was the movie that I was referencing. Do suspended drivers ID for not paying tickets? Was it? Sorry, not. Do suspended drivers ID for not paying tickets show up on criminal records? Suspended drivers are your driving record, not criminal. So your criminal record is independent of the other. We'd be able to look you up and search everything about you. And searching one thing, we'd see other things. But it's two different databases. So yeah, a criminal records check would not show up your bad driving and poor choices. Just saying. Okay, we talked about this. Oh, there's the question. Okay. Evandro had a question, and I've lost it. It's since rebooted, but it was about. We did talk about the question already. Never mind. You were talking about with or without seatbelt. Okay. All right, Melissa. What do we got here? When is the next meet and greet? So I can meet the amazing person who are in the police force. So I can tell you that we are going to be at Honda Indy. Contracts went back, insurance went back. That's all happening now. Is it the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st? Let's double check. Let us double check. I can go and do it here. Stand by. Honda Indy. Let's go to the website. 19th to 21st. Boy, it's loading so quickly. I'm on Wi-Fi. That's the issue. I'm hardwired with the other phone. Other computer that crashed. This one is taking a very, very, very long time to load. But yes, July 19th to 21st, still not loaded. And then we'll be there. And Fan Friday is free. They do donations, but it's free entry with a donation. Okay. What do we got here? We got is a person putting on makeup in a car while driving considered a distracted driver? They are distracted, and in some jurisdictions, the charge would be distracted. In Ontario, that would be careless driving, not distracted driving. Distracted driving is specific to handheld communication device, handheld entertainment device, or screen visible to driver. We're talking about fences. I don't get it. Okay. You guys are having great conversations in the back. Okay. Ark says G-Wagon and Jeep drivers are the worst drivers, to be fair. I don't think that is fair. There may be good and bad representations. Here's the problem. It's a very identifiable vehicle. So when you see someone who is a horrible driver driving one, they represent the whole group because they stand out. But yeah, not accepted behavior. Oh, you said expected behavior. Yeah. Unacceptable behavior. But everything you notice, you start seeing more of. So if you see someone in a Volkswagen Bug, doing something stupid, you'll think that everyone in a Volkswagen Bug does that. Okay. Oh, I lost yeah. Okay. Don't judge me by my vehicle. There was a question that Zombie posted, and I was about to put it on the screen, and it disappeared. All right. So a question about a BMW 320i exhaust upgraded to stage 2 exhaust with some intended noise. Some noise may not be bad, but here's the thing. It's how you drive it. If you've upgraded it to make it louder, and now as a result of it, it is loud, and you rip open that accelerator and, wide open throttle, and you're making noise, you're making noise, unnecessary noise. Now, the Stage 2 kit on its own may not change you from having a proper muffler system. Okay. Is there speed when at a certain speed where someone reaches that we stop the chase? We are always monitoring not so much the speed, but the risk to the public. So if we're chasing somebody and then they continue putting them, like they're putting themselves and everyone else at risk by going so fast, if we can identify them and it's not something where there's a person kidnapped in the car, then we're probably going to just have our friends pick it up somewhere else or put on a helicopter, as someone mentioned. We don't have our own helicopters. There's some joint use helicopters. So, we can phone our friends in a surrounding service. They'll put the bird in the air and then they'll assist us. Okay. Funny, you should mention this. What happens if you run over an animal by accident? I have yet to post my little picture here, but I'll share with you. This is my ode to Fluffy, who died courageously crossing the street. I was on my way to work yesterday, and what happened was I saw a little rabbit making its way across the street, and it was well past my half of the road. Now, obviously, the rabbit and crossing the street, and it's not a pedestrian, but I thought I was in the clear. And little rabbit decided, as I approached, to run back the other way. And I thought I was in the clear. Apparently not. So, Fluffy, this moment of silence is for you. I killed Fluffy. But it's a teaching moment because I get to talk about the fact that if you have an animal in the street and it jumps into your path, what do? Do you swerve to avoid hitting Fluffy and cause a collision, or hit a pedestrian, or hit the brakes and get rear-ended? At a certain point, you have to make a decision. Can you avoid it safely or not? And in this case, it wasn't. It was a not. I could not have avoided Fluffy. So Fluffy bit the dust. Flat. Okay. Moving on. See, of course, a killer Draconis got sent of a woman. Where are you guys from? We are Toronto Police Traffic Services. We are from Canada. And in Canada, the province of Ontario, the city of Toronto Police. Yeah. And we talk about laws specific to here. But many of this stuff applies everywhere. Bella says, how are you guys? We are good. Or he's gone, but we are still good. Okay. When does nobody use turn signal? Why? I think you meant why does nobody use it? It is a problem. People tend to think we're all psychic and know what they're doing. Hi from Brampton. Hi, Brampton. Tire on 401. You hit it as you can't avoid it. Why are you held 100% at fault? Are you held 100% at fault for a tire that, I mean, if it was there, you were not using lead time, that's a problem. If it was there and someone ran over it, then you ran over it next, you had no way of avoiding it because you didn't know it was there. This is dash camera. This is where dash cameras really come in handy. Document what happened. Okay. That's an interesting statement. You're probably 100% at fault, putting this back on the thing, by insurance standards based on the fact there's nobody else to put you at fault. You know, we wouldn't charge you for hitting a tire. That or if a truck tire flew off your vehicle, another vehicle hit you, you're not responsible because you received the tire in your windshield, but insurance, if they have no one to charge, will make you responsible. How do I join the team? If you mean Toronto Police Traffic Services, you join the police service first, become a police officer, and then become a police traffic specialist or media specialist in this case. Okay. I have a vehicle built without seatbelts. What is the law when it comes to passengers? Well, if your vehicle was manufactured prior to the law of seatbelts, it's the classic. I think it's 74 is when they were introduced. Then they're permitted to not wear seatbelts in a car that has no seatbelts. So you can have passengers in that vehicle because that's the way it was designed. You are grandfathered, it's called. Soph says, hi from Ottawa. Hey, Ottawa, what's happening? Storm Gaming Official says, how was the week of vacation? It was good. And guess what's happening next week? I'm going on another week of vacation. It's probably a good time to mention that I'm not here next week. Yeah, I'm doing another week of vacation. My brother's coming in from out of town. We're going to be spending time together. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. A cop let me go when I was going 20 over in a construction zone. What's the thought process in that? Mason wants to know. Discretion. The officer let you go. Maybe the officer was busy doing something else, but wanted to have a conversation with you and see what you were all about. And maybe based on your interaction, they decided to let you go. Maybe you have a clean record and they said, you know what? We're going to be generous today. Maybe they didn't have any ticket books. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom. I don't know. Whatever the maybe was, you benefited from it. And it could have gone the other way, absolutely. Chance Strauss says, hi from Fort McMurray, Alberta. How's it going? We have friends in Alberta. And now we have Chance from Alberta, too. Okay. What was this? Amanda. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Sean, should mention what to do when you see an ambulance. We almost in 2 separate motor vehicle collisions on Monday. Well, it depends. Are we talking about lights and sirens ambulance? Just when we see ambulances in general? Listen, Amanda, who is a former auxiliary with the Toronto Police, who is now a paramedic, people don't know what to do with emergency vehicles of any kind, paramedics or otherwise. It is not okay. Like, it's not. Lights, sirens, pull over to the nearest curb or edge of roadway and wait until they pass. And don't chase them. Chasing them bad. People try and get back into traffic, and I don't want to lose my place in line. You put lives at risk when you do these silly things. We need to be able to get to places in a hurry. And oddly enough, police tend to go without lights and sirens because using lights and sirens results in people doing really dumb things and then putting us in situations where it takes us longer to get places or not get there at all due to collisions that are caused. But please pull over to the nearest curb or edge of roadway. And that's the thing. Now, if there's a divided highway, like the 401, oncoming ambulances don't require you to pull over. But if they're on the same side of the road as you or in a road that is undivided, meaning a painted line dividing the directions of travel, then you have to pull over and stop. And I'll tell you what my favorite thing to do is when I'm a police officer on the road or was an officer on the road was to pull over the people who didn't pull over. So ambulance would go by, and that gave me a wonderful little drive behind them, and I watched the people who did the wrong thing, and then I charged them, and that's a whole lot of money that you lose when you do the wrong thing. Can't understand how you deal with that much stress and hustle and bustle 24/7. Is that just driving in Toronto, or do you mean as a police fire, or ambulance? It is a stressful job. A lot of people who have injuries as a result of some of that stress. How do I become a cop officer? You become a police officer by applying. Obviously, you have to meet the qualifications. I mentioned it earlier, and you can go back and watch any one of our episodes. We always talk about recruiting. You can go to TrafficCop.ca. Actually, you can go to TrafficCop.ca for so many different things, like all our different social media, all our useful links. There's lots of great information, and it all starts there. So check it out. And then you can go apply for police officer. Okay. Ooh. Someone drove through a red light and hit me. Cops showed up and did not charge the other driver. Fresh, I don't know. I guess they didn't have enough evidence other than you saying that it happened. And if they didn't charge you and they didn't charge them, then they didn't think they had enough evidence to lay the charge. If they had camera, if you had a dash cam of it happening, they would have likely taken that evidence and laid them based on that information. But if two people say two different things, very often we can't lay charges because there's no reasonable prospect of conviction, because we're going to say that the involved party said this happened. Now, if you had a corroborating witness, a third party who was unrelated to you, didn't know anything, never met you before, and then said, I witnessed it happen, and that guy did that, and this one did that, and it's his fault. Well, then based on that person who will have to come and testify in court, we'd be able to lay a charge. Hope that helps. But I'm sorry that you were in a collision, and I hope that you're okay, because collisions, I've had collisions. I'm in this role in front of a camera talking to you because of the collision I was in when I was on a motorcycle on duty. So there you go. They are not fun. Can you give me the process to join for someone who is only high school grad and now a truck driver? It's the same as anybody. High school grad or OSSD, Ontario Secondary School diploma is the only thing you need to apply. You can apply with that. So you go to the website, you read the requirements. If you meet the requirements, you can get tested. If you can pass all the testing, apply. And we're hiring. Like police services across North America, the world even, are looking for people who want to do the job. And so many people don't want to risk their lives, don't want to have a life of service. And this is a life of service. You're giving up a lot of your personal life to do jobs to help other people. You come to work to make the world safer. Even if you're just dealing with your block, you're making it safer, and it's all about the team effort of changing the way bad guys do stuff. I say bad guys, not persons who make bad decisions sometimes. Apparently that's more appropriate. But we're trying to manage other people's lives, right? We're doing policing is very much a parenting role. People don't like when I say that, but it is what it is. When you can't manage your own stuff, we get involved, and we manage it for you. Someone does the wrong thing, and because their parents didn't do the right thing in raising them right, then we have to get involved. We get involved when things go wrong, mostly. Where can we submit questions? You just did. Okay, moving along. How does that make sense? I don't know what we're talking about. How do I join Marine Unit? John Weaver wants to know. You become a police officer first, and after you're a first-class constable and meet the requirements within that unit, you'd be able to move over. Now, many people who want to go to the Marine Unit are divers or boat people already. You tend to be competing with others that are in that realm already. Okay. Now that most firearms are illegal in Canada, have you seen a decrease in firearm-related crimes? Hi from Texas. Hey, Texas, I wish I was having some barbecue with you right now. I look for one of my best friends is a Texan who's born in Texas, and he lives in Canada, and I'm going to see him possibly after the show. But how do I answer this nicely? Police chiefs in Canada have openly stated that laws prohibiting firearms do not reduce firearm-related crimes because most of the firearms that are used in crime in Canada were stolen and imported, smuggled into the country from the United States. So the legal gun owners who are being regulated aren't impacting crime because they weren't impacting crime before the laws were changed, and they're still not impacting crime. Yeah. Moving on. Let's see here. Is that really the last one? Wow. It is the last question. At least, it looks like we may have broken things. Things are updating. Let's see what's going on. We got Jonathan, I wanted to join. Sorry, it's Jonathan. Jonathan? I don't know how to read your username. If I wanted to join the SWAT in Alberta, Canada, how could one go about that? I want to become a cop. SWAT it's an acronym that stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. It's an LAPD term. Might be used other places. We call it the Emergency Response Team. No, we don't. It's the ETF, the Emergency Task Force. ERT is York Region, the Emergency Response Team. I think they're ERT. At the end of the day, the acronym is irrelevant. It's the fact that these are the officers that are tactical officers and respond to armed threats and bomb threats and things like that. They're a very specialized group. You have to be a police officer first, and it is incredibly selective and competitive to get in. Inniskillen says that their wife is the best. She makes me do the small errands around the house. Okay. John Weaver says, I'm 35. Am I too old to join? No, you're not. I joined the service originally when I was 25. I was 38 when I became a police officer because I was a special constable in court services. And then I patched over and became a police officer at 38. I think I was 38. In any case, you're not too old. We've had people in their 50s who have applied and become police officers. I'm nearly 50. And there's people who are still coming in that are older than me, just joining the job now. Lane filtering on a motorcycle, will it become a thing in the future? Well, it's a thing now. It's just not a legal thing. It's unsafe. And it's legal in places like California, and they still say it's incredibly unsafe, but it's a legal practice. Just be cautious. And speed differential is a big thing to think about when considering that in jurisdictions where it's legal. Not legal here. You can get charged here for stunt driving, careless driving, criminal dangerous driving, depending on what's being seen. So, will it become legal here? I highly doubt it. We're seeing too many collisions involving motorcycles, too many deaths, too many serious injuries. So, it's unlikely that we'll ever condone it. And it's totally abused here. So, when people can't behave themselves when it's illegal. If you make it a little bit legal, it'll become a lot of a problem. If you got a dad joke, I've got 2 dad jokes in the hopper. Let me know what your dad joke is. What is the exact law regarding driving while high? Well, it's not called driving while high. It's called impaired driving. Whether it's impaired by drugs or alcohol, it's impairment. And you can read the actual law in the Criminal Code of Canada. It is a federal law. It is not specific to different provinces. It's against the law. You cannot drive a motor vehicle, operate a motor vehicle, or a canoe for that matter, whilst under the influence of drugs or alcohol. You're impaired. Impaired people make bad decisions. Making bad decisions in a motor vehicle is deadly. You get arrested. You get charged. They're going to do tests to confirm exactly what you're under the influence of, and appropriate charges are filed. I have a 1985 Mustang and was given an emissions ticket. Can you explain why I was given one? I can't. I don't know what your vehicle was doing in regards to emissions. Did you have straight pipes? Did you have a bypass where it was no longer going through the exhaust system? I don't know why. Were you blowing a lot of smoke out of your rear end of the vehicle? I don't know why you were charged because I wasn't there. Does TPS do ride-alongs? They can be arranged. They're not. It's not a thing where you show up with a ticket and go. You need to have some purpose and get it approved in advance. Let's see here. What's the highest speed over the speed limit that you would let slide? Jamie Katz wants to know. Not a whole lot. 5 kilometers? If I want to pull someone over for 5K. If you're doing 10 over and a 30, I'm going to charge you. If you're doing 15 over and a 60, I'm going to charge you. If you're doing, I stop people, or I stopped when I was on the road, people for that all day long because it's against the law. It's unsafe. It's not allowed. I don't know any other way to put it. What's going on here? But 1 kilometer over is against the law. Do I have to do I have to OCAP before being recruited? I think you mean OACP, the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police certificate. I believe you do have to have your OACP certificate in advance. It's different because OACP used to do the testing, and I think they do less testing now, but certain things are done. The process has changed since I went through it. What exactly is a special constable? And it is... So a special constable is a uniformed civilian role that has some police powers bestowed upon them during the hours which they are working. So whereas I'm a police officer 24/7 and I am not only with the authority of a police officer 24/7, what else am I thinking here? I have the authority, and I'm always that police officer role. I can't stop being a cop until I retire or quit. Whereas a special constable is only given that authority while they are working. They get special expanded authorities, and they get different authorities based on the role that they're in. Some maybe special constables for the purposes of directing traffic, like traffic wardens in the city of Toronto. Others are for arrests and transportation of prisoners and do expanded things. It depends. YT Bike Boy says, I think I'm going to apply to join as a civilian job. Very good. Let me know how that goes. And if you have questions, let me know. I might be able to connect with you as someone who might be able to answer questions if you have some. Okay. What if I were to do the criminal justice course? Will it improve my chances of being hired? Education is good. Is it required? No. Will it improve your chances? Any continued education makes you a better applicant, makes you a better candidate because you're bringing more to the table. If you speak multiple languages, you're going to score better than someone who speaks one. If you have the ability to understand accounting and business practices because of your life experience or because of your certifications, that's something that may benefit the service because we investigate crimes that involve businesses and finances. So who you are, what you bring to the table will be evaluated. It's a holistic approach. What is this? Why do garbage trucks always call the cops when my car is on the street? I have no idea. Tim likes my answer about gun laws. Tim, yeah, I like your comment. It's true. Many of the people who make laws don't understand the laws or the cons. anyway, I'm not getting into it. But I know what you're saying, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm not saying anything. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. We're gonna go for a little while. I like that we got some time today. It's awesome. I wish my computers worked properly. What is this? How does? Oh, I see. They want to know if they can come home and smoke right after. So this is one where people don't get it. So if you were driving and you were all over the road, and reports came in that you were all over the road, and then you come home and you smoke marijuana or consume drugs, not specific, any drugs, alcohol, and then a police officer knocks on your door and demands a roadside screening device, which they can do, you could be charged after the fact. And you could say, well, I just did it now. There's now a window that is being created based on people who were using it as a defense. Like they'd go home after drunk driving and drink more. And they would do that. They would do that. Say, I just drank now. I'm fine. I was fine then. I'm drunk now. No, they dealt with that because people were doing silly stuff. What do we got here? Boop-a-doo. A whole bunch of stuff just popped in. What happens to officers' dash cam and body cam footage? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's used in relation to offenses. Like we capture them or interactions and they're stored and then used in the cases. I'm not sure what you're asking exactly. Okay. Paul says, as an RCMP member, I appreciate you. Well, Paul, I appreciate you as an RCMP member and someone who's watching the show. It's great to hear from you. Thanks for reaching out. Let's see here. How can I become a cop? You got to apply. Why are harness seatbelts not allowed on, what is this, in a streetcar instead of the normal ones? Why are harness seatbelts not allowed in a streetcar? Rob, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard of a streetcar with any kind of belts. So what are you talking about? Transit, buses, streetcars are exempt. They're not required to have seatbelts. So what harness are we? And there's no seatbelts. So what do you mean a streetcar? I mean, okay, if you're not from Toronto, you may be talking about a car meant for the street as opposed to a streetcar, which is like a train on the road, which is very specific to the city of Toronto. So I think it was me who was not understanding you. So a vehicle that is intended for the street, if you're talking about a racing harness, a 6-point harness or 5-point, 6-point, whatever, racing harness, they're not permitted because that's not what came with the vehicle. And they're designed in such a way that they are solid or restrictive belts that don't flex while you're moving. They're locked, which means to wear them properly, you need to be put into that seat and strapped down to the point where you cannot move from the seat. A, it's not realistic. B, no one actually wears them properly. And C, you're installing it and it's not approved for the road. It may be approved for the street, but people are buying these things on Amazon and clipping them onto the seat. Like it's not a proper seat belt, not rated and for the road. Most of them say on them not for street use. And we believe them when they say that. There may be a few vehicles that were factory produced with those, although they may have tensioning devices in those scenarios, because nobody wants to be like made one with the seat. And what else is there? If you install them after the fact, you still have to use the OEM because it's against the law to remove your OEM seatbelt, which is an interesting thing. It's not safer. They're not safer. And it takes you longer to get extracted from a motor vehicle. When you're inside of a race car and you have a team who are responding to your crash because they're standing at the side of the track and they're waiting for something to happen because it's a racetrack, it's different. They're going to cut you out of that seatbelt. And chances are in a race car with the protective cage that you have, you're probably going to be fine. And, so many things that go into that. What is this? We talked about that. Oh, who's going to be stopped if multiple cars are speeding? Whichever one's lucky, I guess. We sometimes stop multiple vehicles simultaneously. Adrian says, you no longer need grounds to suspect and demand a breath sample. This is the question. So something came out called mandatory alcohol screening. It's something that's been employed in many countries around the world, Australia for one, for many, many years. It's now in Canada, across Canada. I think it was 2018. And the December 2018? Yeah. What it means is where we would normally need to have suspicion that you had alcohol in your system by way of observations, admission, we no longer require that. So that means that we can make, in the absence of suspicion, a normal roadside screening device demand. We can now say that we're going to stop everybody and give everybody a demand for roadside screening device samples. And then we will require you to blow into a box, and you don't get charged if you have nothing, and you do get charged if you do. And that's just, it's in the absence of bias. It's just everybody gets tested, and that's a great way to go. Kia ora from New Zealand. I think you win the prize as being farthest from where I am currently sitting watching the show today. I have friends in New Zealand. I have some Kiwi friends, absolutely. You have wonderful people. You really do, at least the examples that I've met. And I know you're not Australia. I'm not saying you're Australia, but I have family in Australia. And I didn't make it across to New Zealand when I was down there in that edge of the world. I thought I would have had a chance, but it didn't work out. So I got to go back. Anyway, let's see here. What are the laws on Suron e-bikes? Well, Suron bikes are not e-bikes. They're electric bikes, but they're not electric bicycles for the purposes of being accepted as that under the law in the province of Ontario. In fact, they're motorcycles. They are way too powerful to ever come near being classified as electric bicycles in the province of Ontario. So the regulations say that you can't have, it can't be capable of doing more than 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface, unassisted. It cannot be, it cannot have a motor more powerful than 500 watts. And those are like 20,000 watts. Like they're ridiculous. They do like 86 kilometers an hour. At least some of them. I think some of them go faster, actually. I'm on the wrong computer to share that with you. But yeah, they're totally not legal. And you would need license, ownership, and insurance, which you cannot get for those to be on the road. And that means that driving that on the road with no insurance would lead you to get a charge for motor vehicle, no insurance. It's going to have a $5,000 to $25,000 fine. It's going to come up with up to 6 months in jail. It's not something you should do. And here's the thing: people say, well, it's an e-bike. Even if it has pedals, which it would be required to have pedals and all of the other stuff, and be less than 120 kilos to qualify. It doesn't. And then you think about these things. I mean, I look, they're amazing. I want one, but it's off-road only. There was a point I was going to make. I've since had it vacate my mind. It's gone. Does OPP really have a Ferrari Cruiser? Not that I'm aware of. They had a Corvette loaned to them by General Motors or Chevrolet for the 1 year, 2 years ago. This year, I think they borrowed a Hummer H2, a Hummer EV, whatever the model number is for the current Hummer. But it's the electric Hummer. They borrowed it for the car show, but it's not a police car. It's a show car, and that's what it was with the Corvette. Now, I will say, last year we had they had the OPP Corvette, and I went for a lap on the Honda Indy track with Kerry Schmidt because he had the keys. But it was just made up for the show. It's not a police car, and definitely not a Ferrari. Where is the comment that just came in here? Hang on, I'm looking for the highlighted comment so I can go to the next comment. Where did it go? Stand by. I'll stare down here. It's not the convenient place. I have my screens way up here, and this is messing with my flow, people. This computer business not cooperating is really frustrating. And this just means I'm going to have another conversation. There we go. All right. More water. Does my insurance go up if I got a speeding ticket, pay it off with a clean record? It could. Any ticket, any charge. If you pay it off, you're going to get a conviction. The conviction on your record is what your insurance company looks at to increase. Now, they may have a policy that they give you a one for free. That's up to them. If they decide to raise your rates, that's up to them. If you have a clean record, but they're looking because they're reviewing every month, they probably don't do that. They probably review it every time you change your policy. Like I did. I had a motorcycle and a car on my policy, and I took the motorcycle off to save money, and they raised my rates. What a great go that was. I need to change insurance companies. What's this? And as Bishop says, any infraction will spike your insurance. And yes, any infraction truly. People think about points as being the focus of their concern. I want to plead to something with no points to save my insurance. Here is something nobody seems to understand. Points don't matter to insurance. They don't care. It's the type of collision, it's the type of charge that is either minor, major. There's actually 4 apparently categories, but a major one's going to kill it. A bunch of minor ones are going to change your insurance rates. Just what it is. If you keep forgetting to bring your driver's license with you, it's a paper charge, right? Not driving violation. Could they raise your rates? Sure. It's a pattern of behavior that suggests you are a higher risk candidate than somebody else. Josh or Inniskillen says, after 3 major convictions, you're kicked off the policy. Interesting. I've never had that situation, but that's interesting. Captain Foley, how you doing? Haven't caught a live for a while. Nice to see you. Well, it's been a while since and it's nice to see you too, but it's been a while since I've been live at least more than 20 minutes. So here's the thing. 3 weeks ago, I was on vacation. Is it 3 weeks ago? I think it's 3 weeks ago. Then I've been here for 2 weeks, but busy like crazy, and I haven't been able to go live consistently. Next week, I'm on vacation. So yeah, this is like the summer is the summer of inconsistent live streams. But I'm going to be taking a week in July and a week in August. So I'm taking some time off to do stuff in and around Tirana. Okay, what do we got? But I'm glad that you did find us today. Yes. What about roundabouts? What about roundabouts, Samantha? I don't know what you're getting at. They're good, except they confuse people. And people are like, what is he looking at? Why is he looking down? It's because I'm on a laptop because my big computer, which is really just a laptop with big screens, is not cooperating. Okay. Doop-a-doo. What is this? Oh. Storm Gaming official says, I saw a documentary on CBC about tow truck. Why aren't they allowed to come close to a collision scene? So in Ontario, under the new laws that started this January 1st of this year, they can't they can't come within 200 meters of a collision scene unless they're called by a client or assigned to go there because you've called and said, I need help. If you call and tell them to come in, they can come in. But police are the problem is that they run to these scenes and they get involved and they give people sometimes good information, sometimes not so good information. So it's all very regulated. Police officers need to get in there and do what they need to do and not have the interference of people who are trying to get the towing contracts so they can make money. Let's see here. How do you feel about the TTC strike? It doesn't affect me. Well, actually, it probably will affect me, but I drive. I can't take transit from where I live to where I'm going. Doesn't affect me. Affects many people I know, and they're not happy about it, but I got nothing to say about it because I've really not been paying attention to it. There might be a lot of people driving or working from home based on the media coverage. How often do I need to renew my insurance? However often it is that they expire. Usually it's annual. Watching the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte. I've not even heard of it. What platform is it on? I got rid of Disney Plus. So if it's there, which is probably where it is, I have not watched it. Oh, Fresh says, I have dash camera footage of the incident. Did it cover it? This is Fresh was talking about the person who ran a red light and hit them. You may want to go to the police service and speak to someone and say, why wasn't the other person charged? Because I'm sorry, as a collision investigator, I want to charge the responsible person if I can prove it. And if I have irrefutable video evidence of them breaking the law, that really does help the person who was the victim. Now, you have to understand something. The victim is the person who was, through no fault of their own, involved in a collision. Very often police officers, and it's not all police officers, there are police officers who say, well, one person got hurt, and sometimes the person who caused the collision got hurt. They feel bad for that person. They don't want to charge that person. I charge the person who caused the collision, regardless of whether or not they suffered injury. Victims aren't the injured party. Victims are the person thrust into a situation based on no fault of their own. Okay. OPP has a Corvette and a Maserati? Come on, they don't have a Maserati. Oh, I want to look. Does OPP have a Maserati? Probably be a space there. Maybe that's a new thing. Let's see. No, I don't see anything. Well, I don't see anything, but I'd love to know that. Is a Maserati cool? Maseratis have Ferrari engines, don't they? That's what makes them worth looking at, even though they tend to depreciate according to everything I can see. I mean, everything depreciates, but anyway. Is it okay to pass a car ahead of a solid line for 1 second, then it discontinues? Lines in Ontario are not enforceable on their own. You're responsible for whatever happens, so if you were to pass on a solid line and cause a collision, oopsie-doo, it's on you. Not a good thing. As a truck driver, I love when people see emergency vehicles and slam on the brakes and pull over. It's the slam on the brakes and stop in the middle of the road. No, Paul, I feel you, man. Is that if you're driving big rig, you need a lot of space, and people do so many silly things around you guys, and they're putting everyone at risk. So it's ridiculous. But people don't know how to drive. There are far too many people who do not understand the concept of safe driving. Check out turf.ca, TIRF.ca. They have a great big truck or large truck information graphic that I should really just store here so I can put on screen. But it really paints a picture. People don't understand the amount of room truck drivers need, and when they do silly things like just hammer the brakes when they see lights and sirens, they're gonna have bad stuff happen. Luckily, someone behind me had a dash cam footage. I showed it to the cop and said, so why wouldn't they have late charges? I don't get it. Okay. What's the max speed limit? Sorry, what's the max speed limit on a ramp tending to a highway? It's the speed of the. So here's the funny thing: the ramp speeds that are posted are ramp speeds, so that the engineers have calculated that would keep you on the road safely in ideal conditions. You don't want to race to the speed. Technically, they don't do enforcement on ramps. I've never heard of enforcement on ramps. Generally, it's the speed of the highway because you're ramping up to that speed. But your mileage may vary. You may find yourself in the weeds, and you're going to eat it because obviously you caused that collision based on your speed. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Trying to find some more questions because there's some dialogue here. Wow. Akela's wife still isn't able to return to work after her minor collision last July. Obviously, it wasn't so minor. People don't understand how fragile we are as human beings and how easy it is to be broken and not be able to return to life as it was the day before you were in a collision. I really don't suggest collisions. I got to tell you that having been in a number of them, on duty, off duty, just collision's bad. Don't do that. You hurt yourself, and it's harder to fix you as you age. Apparently, young people, you like miracles. You bounce, and you're amazing. Now I put on my socks and I hurt myself. I'm exaggerating, but it's true. Well, I'm still exaggerating. What is this? Okay. Doop-a-doo. What do we got here? Talked about this already. Talked about that already. What's going on with tow truck stuff going on? There's people making money, people fighting about money. What if I do? What is this? We talked about this already. Okay. Apparently I scrolled so far back, I found a whole bunch of stuff that I'd never seen. Cab says, what about golf carts? Are we talking about impaired operation? Yep. You can be charged for impaired driving, impaired operation on any vehicle that is a motor vehicle, and under the Criminal Code of Canada, anything that is operated on something other than muscular power is a motor vehicle, and a golf cart qualifies. So if you're getting loaded while golfing, you are eligible for arrest. Smoky Day says, what if I smoke Friday and it's still in my system on Monday? Well, if it's in your system and you're a G1, G2, M1, M2 driver, or a driver who is a G-class driver under the age of 22, well, you have to have a zero content. So if you were to be swabbed for it, you would be getting a suspension. If you're under the influence and impaired, like you're glossy-eyed and slurred speech and you're all over the road, well, that's impaired driving. And if you're not that, then you probably wouldn't be charged for impaired operation. Can I speed to pass someone on the highway? If you mean speed is going over the speed limit, then no, you cannot speed. The speed limit is the maximum you can travel at, regardless whether you were passing or picking your nose. That is it. Where should I park if there's no space in my driveway? Depends what your bylaws of the place where you live is. If you have street parking, like in Toronto, you can have street parking for 3 hours. Most places won't allow you to have more than that. If you have an accessible pass, you can park longer. If you need special consideration, you can call parking enforcement. Like my friend's staying over for the weekend. Could I get consideration? You can ask for these things. They may be able to help you out. What is this? Are there tickets for wide tires? Yeah. If your tires are extended beyond that of the body or fender flare, you can be charged. It's not a proper tire. It's not the right size for the vehicle. And it's not safe for the road. Truly, you're kicking up. You need mud flaps and fenders. What would happen if I drive without insurance, but my mom does on the car? Then you are not driving without insurance, my friend. You are driving a motor vehicle that is insured for the road, which is legal. And if you're a licensed driver with permission to operate it, you're lawful from a police perspective. If, however, you're in a collision and you live with your mom and you're driving their car and you get into a collision and the insurance company says, hang on a second, this driver wasn't permitted to be on the policy, they might deny you the claim. Now, generally, that's only an issue if you live in the same home. But it's something to consider because you're driving a $50,000 car, driving any kind of car. And the insurance company says, we're not covering it because the person wasn't listed on the policy. It's a bad day at the office. Would you give a ticket to a vintage car that has an aftermarket exhaust, headers, and straight pipes? If it's a vintage car and it doesn't require those things because of the age of the car, it predates, like it needed a smog pump but it didn't need a muffler, then they're grandfathered based on when they were produced. And if they're not being silly is the word I'm going to use. If you're not driving in a way, if you're sitting and you're revving it and you're causing a disturbance and you're creating unnecessary noise, I don't care if your car is made out of solid gold. You're getting a ticket because you're being a dink about how you're behaving. If you're just rumbling around and going, it's just a loud car, louder, but it's not obnoxious. I have no problem with it. That's me, and everyone will deal with it differently. Can you have brake lights that flash 3 times? There's a difference of opinion on this. So your signals flash, and they're red sometimes. It's not illegal. If you hit the brakes and it goes flash, flash, solid, I don't have a problem with that. Is it intermittent flashing red lights? To me, intermittent is a sparkle pattern. You have flashlight. You have signals now that sequentially flash. If you don't get tickets for that, you shouldn't get tickets for a brake light that flashes. My interpretation, my opinion. Others have said it's illegal. I can't find anything in the law that says it's illegal. But it's up to interpretation. Love the beard. Do you have diabetes? I don't know how the beard and diabetes come into play. Thank you for the beard. I like it too. Diabetes, no. Although I watch my sugar because I don't want diabetes. Let's see here. But now I'm curious why you ask. Is 21 too young for a police officer? It's on the young side, but it's not necessarily too young. There was a question I saw that disappeared. I will have to get going soon. I do have some other stuff I need to get done. And after a week, this feels like a long episode, even though it's the normal, and I would always do it an hour and a half. Tipu. If it's human to err, why punish above and beyond retribution? I think you're being a little bit overdramatic. But if you break the law, you're held accountable. Hopefully it prevents you from breaking the law again. And we get that people make mistakes. And courts can work that out. It's your first offense. Maybe they'll give you the least serious offense. But there's certain things you do, like speeding 10 over. Okay, you learn your lesson. Stunt driving 50 over? Sorry. That's not an error. That's actively doing something stupid. And you should be punished to the full extent of the law. There's no excuse. What is cops' job when they show up to a significant collision? Depends on the cop. I mean, holding the scene, ensuring that the appropriate first aid and people are notified to come and help. It depends. Depends on what's going on. It could be securing the scene. It could be making sure that everybody else is coming to know what's happening. You evaluate. I get to a collision scene and I'm calling in. Usually the fire trucks are there before you. Ambulances are already there working. They're extracting people from cars. It depends on what's happened and what's about to happen. You find your place in the role, and it's a big teamwork thing. It might take many, many police officers. Someone says, y'all stop asking a cop. What do you mean, I'll stop asking? Tax dollars hard at work live streaming on TikTok. Jaden doesn't approve. Well, Jaden, too bad for you. This is actually the most effective way for us to communicate with large groups of people, 97 people that are on mixed platforms, between many of whom are watching on traffic services on Twitter. We've had, what do we have here? 3,300 people have come through on here. We've had 40,000 people in a live stream before. Getting education out to people, answering questions, it's no different than what cops have been doing for 100 years or 200 years. If we go to a barbecue or we direct traffic, people come up to us and talk to us. When we have these conversations, we're having one-on-one conversations. On the street, go to a barbecue, and you want to know stuff, or you walk into our station and have this conversation. It's a one-on-one conversation. Others may have the same question, may benefit from it, but don't get that opportunity, and may never get the answer and may not feel comfortable having the conversation. Sometimes they're intimidated by police. We've created an opportunity to have dialogue, to have the education available, not only in this live stream, but in the hundreds of live streams we've done. This is actually the 67th or 68th episode of 2024. Most of those episodes are at least an hour long, if not an hour and a half. We're going to tremendous lengths to ensure that we're available for you. Unlike customer service here. Now, there's people downstairs waiting to answer a phone, and the phone may not have rung in the last hour. Is it wrong for someone to wait for the phone to ring? They're police officers. They're assigned to a desk, and they may have nothing to do until you call. And I'm here, and my lips haven't stopped moving for an hour and a half. But you think this is an inappropriate use of funds. And I think you're wrong. I'll leave it at that. Let's see here. Is it distracted driving if the phone is down and you're using the map on the car's display? If you're using maps, please invest in a mount, a vent mount, a cup holder mount. Put it so that you're not looking down into a cup holder or looking down into the seat. But it is lawful if the phone is mounted and in the GPS mode. Then you can safely watch the screen and listen to directions. Please use the audio alerts. It really helps. You want to take your eyes off the road as little as possible. It's a distraction. It's an acceptable distraction if you're in the mode, but it's a distraction and it could lead to collision. You cannot touch the phone. You cannot interact with the phone. You cannot swipe. You cannot enter destinations using the screen. Almost everyone has a smartphone these days. Almost. Not everybody, but almost. Use it. If you said, "Hey Siri," and everyone's phones just lights up. Even my desktop, my iPad just lit up. When you do that, you could say, "Get me a destination to," or plot a route into maps to get to ABC 123 Street or whatever. It'll do that hands-free. There is no reason to touch your phone at all whatsoever. All right, having a quick look. How come we don't pull over birds for flying too fast in the school zone? What is it? Hardy, har? I haven't said that in about 120 years. I'm sure if there was a reason to, we would. I think that we should have automated enforcement for cars in every school zone, in every street, at every stop sign for red light enforcement or stop sign enforcement. I think we should use automation for everything. What's this? Have sovereign citizens made it to Canada yet? Oh, yeah, for years and years. They get arrested all the time for their hijinks. Y'all stop asking a cop questions for a lawyer. We're not giving you legal advice. I'm not telling you what to do once you are charged. I should probably put a caveat in the intro. This is not legal advice. This is explaining to you what the police do when you do dumb stuff. This is about what we're going to do if you break the law. This is not legal advice. This is explaining the law. This is explaining what police do when you break the law. And that's a big difference than what you do when you are charged with something and now want to mitigate the impact on your life, whether it be prevent yourself from going to jail or prevent yourself from spending $25,000 on a no insurance fine. That's legal advice. I would do this because a lawyer will say, I will tell you to do this, and you do this to mitigate the impact of your actions. Totally different. How you proceed after you're arrested, that's the lawyer's department. What happens prior to your arrest, from a police perspective, that's what I'm talking about. Telling you to do the right thing, that's where I'm here. I'm trying to prevent you from doing dumb stuff so you don't get charged with doing dumb stuff and then don't have the negative consequences for the rest of your life for having done dumb stuff. So thank you, Pixel Vice, for your contribution to the live stream today. How often are physical endurance tests conducted when you're on the force? Depends on the unit you're in. ETF are constantly, I mean, they have a fantastic facility and they're constantly working. They are specimens, truly working it all the time. Others choose to work out on their own, but they're not tested on a regular basis. We are encouraged to participate in something called the fitness pin testing, which means the standards that we met when we joined to do that every single year. Does everyone do it? No. Do I do it now? No. And I'm not fit to be on the road. I don't mean that I've eaten too many donuts. I mean that I'm injured and recovering still from an injury from a motor vehicle collision when I was hit by a car once on a police motorcycle. So I don't go on the road, and if I did, I'd be in the gym a whole lot more. Actually, I am working out. I am working on improving my physical fitness, not just because I need to look good in a Speedo. Because I want to be healthy and capable of living a long and healthy life. And being hurt is not fun. Where's this dum-dum? What's here? Let's see if I can find them. Somebody's doing silliness. Why are they being silly? I see Buck Fank says, hey, I got your email, Buck, and I haven't had a chance to respond because I've been really busy, but I did see your email. Okay. What we got here? Can I drive with no front plates? I mean, you can choose to do what you want, but you're going to be held accountable. You're going to get a ticket. It's illegal not to display both plates. It's a $110 fine. Okay. And as Hussein says, yeah, but it's a $110 ticket. So it's not legal. And it's a $110 ticket the first time, maybe the second time. If you continue to drive with no front plate, we can escalate that to a summons, forcing you to physically go to court, not giving you the option to pay it, because you're obviously not learning. If you're not learning, you may need to have a conversation with a judge or JP as to why you don't respect the law. And they could choose to increase that to $500 and so on. They have more latitude in court. Kenny says, is it okay if my seatbelt is connected and I move the top half behind me, but the bottom half is on me? So you're talking about taking the shoulder strap and putting it behind you. Well, that's not wearing it lawfully, and that means you'd be eligible for a $240 ticket and demerit points as the driver. It also means that you're going to likely die in a collision. And I mean that because I don't want you to. If you put it under your arm, you're going to compress your rib cage into your lungs and do irreparable damage. If it's truly behind, then you're not getting the benefits of reducing your upper body from being propelled forward in a collision, and you're going to eat the steering wheel. And then the 200-kilometer-an-hour deployment of airbag is going to hit you at the wrong time, and it won't work properly. So why would you do that? Like, it's just, there's nothing good that can come from putting the shoulder strap behind you. It's a bad idea. Buck Fank says, Ontario should make a highway that has no speed limit. I disagree. We have too many people getting seriously injured and killed on our roads with the highway limits the way they are. Faster is not better. Faster is not safer. And if we had drivers like we have in Germany, or they have in Germany, that are highly skilled because there's higher standards, that where enforcement is so incredibly strict through electronic and officer means, like just because you can go fast, you can't have a vehicle that isn't kept up well. You have to pull over and do the appropriate thing on the road. There's no left lane campers in Germany. We would have utter mayhem here if we removed the speed limits. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Can I drive a Suron e-dirt bike on the sidewalk or road without needing your license or whatever? No. This was talked about earlier, but the question was rephrased. No bicycle can be on the sidewalk, and if you're unless you're under the age of 14, but you can't ride an e-bike unless you're 16, and that's not an e-bike. It's a motorcycle. It might be an electric motorcycle, but it's a motorcycle. So no, you can't have it on the road, can't have it on a bicycle path, can't have it anywhere in the city other than private property. Surons are interesting beasts. They're cool, but you can't have it. What's going on here? We got, he says, collisions are bad, MK. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Can I drive a 125cc mini Honda bike with max speed of 80 kilometers an hour on Highway 2? So it used to be 50cc was the minimum. So if it's a licensed and insured, bike, I don't know if that meets the requirements. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it would be a problem. I think it's legal. I think you'd have to have your head examined to do it, because I would not get it on a highway without a liter in my engine. Like I have a 1500cc motorcycle. I don't like the idea of being on a highway with an 800cc motorcycle, even though they're fully capable and legal. So now what's Highway 2? You're saying it's a max speed of 80. Oh, yeah. 125cc mini Honda that's licensed and insured and so on. I have to reread the question. That is legal. I'm thinking Highway 401. I'm envisioning controlled access highway. A highway with an 80, I don't think that's even controlled access. Is video of pacing other vehicles proof of not speeding? I was ticketed for 116. Very clear I wasn't. Sorry. You were ticketed for 116 kilometers an hour, but you weren't. Oh, I see what you're saying. Your video saying you weren't doing 116. That you could bring that to court. I would suggest anyone who wants to go to court and wants to extend their right or use their right to defend themselves, if you think you've been, charged incorrectly or inappropriately, get the download the file that I have. It's called the what is it? The Defendant's Guide to POA Court. It's available at TrafficCop.ca. What's got here? Adonis says, I passed a streetcar in downtown Toronto when I should have stopped. What is the charge? Is it did you drive past the open doors? There's a charge for that. I'm not going to look it up right now, but there's a charge for that. And you can't pass on the left on the oncoming traffic of a vehicle. There's a charge for that as well. Can you dispute a red light ticket issued by an officer? How do they prove the light wasn't yellow? Their testimony. And by the way, a yellow light means stop unless it's unsafe to do so. And if they charged you for a red light, that means that they're saying that you could have stopped and you should have stopped. You can try, but it's their testimony. They may have got you on camera if they have their dash cam on. That's a possibility. Can special constables initiate a traffic stop? They don't stop people. Can they? I don't think they're covered under that section. I can't imagine why they would want to. But if they came across an impaired driver, they can certainly arrest you. How do I report a cop using a cell phone at red lights? They're legally permitted to use their phones while on duty in a police car. Absolutely. Not something that we promote or want to do, but sometimes it's required. And very often police cars have police computers, but sometimes they have, like, this is my police issued phone. It does everything the police car computer does. And I also can answer the phone. And if it's for police work, it's acceptable. It's acceptable under law. Can I wear ear pods when driving? Yeah, headphones, ear pods, you can do it. Is it a good idea? Maybe not, but it's legal. If you're driving a golf cart and you're not wasted, you should be arrested. If you're driving it on, well, you're say wasted. If you're impaired, not just wasted, but driving a golf cart where? Buck Fanks is just saying, don't drive a golf cart. If a collision is reported to the collision center, does it still go on your record? Yes, it does. If you are involved in the collision, it'll still be recorded. What is this? My hint of gray. Yeah, the Grinch commenting on my beard. Oh, the scenario is that if you speak to your phone and you didn't touch it, it just lit up because you spoke to it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would hope that you could articulate that and they would accept that. I use Siri extensively. What is this? What is the rule for right-hand turn with slotted line for pedestrians? They have to fully cross. Oh, so when you're talking about a collision, or you're talking about a intersection that is controlled by lights, an automated intersection, and there is a right. You're allowed to make right turns on reds, so there's a crosswalk there. So in this situation with a crosswalk, pedestrians that are lawfully in the road have to be yielded to. You have to wait until they've crossed your half of the roadway. But you don't have to wait until they get off the entire road unless there's a crossing guard present. If you're talking, however, about a PXO, pedestrian crossover, those are in the absence of an intersection. This is just crossing the street, has lights on top. Those you have to wait until the pedestrian's completely off the road. Okay. Pulling over birds is malarkey. All right. Buck Fanks is approving of the live stream. What do you got here? Driver drinking coffee or water while driving is okay, right? I've seen news that it's not allowed before. Depends on the jurisdiction you're in. In the province of Ontario, it's absolutely legal unless it negatively impacts your ability to safely operate your motor vehicle, meaning if you're swerving all over the phone because you're trying to get the last drop of water out of your water bottle, you could be charged for careless. It's not distracted driving, though. It's not illegal on its face. In BC and Alberta, I believe it is illegal. That's what I've been told. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. All city offices should have a live stream agent on their websites. That would be interesting. You know, I think that if everyone did what I'm doing here, we'd have excellent customer service. That's what this is. This is customer service at its best. Do you have to signal left if you're already in a left turn lane? Yes, you do. Ken Daddy says, I think this is pre-recorded. I don't think so. What do we got here? Okay. Can you be on FaceTime while driving if your phone isn't in your hand? No, you can't have a video screen live. Oh, here's somebody who references one of my favorite movies. Thank you for the compliment. Paul Blart, Mall Cop, says nobody cares. Everybody cares. Even you care. You took the time to post. And by the way, thank you for helping the algorithm. It's posts like yours that make us, get more followers. But I love the people who are negative Nancy's. What do we got here? Rules for cars with pedestrians. We talked about that. Does the passenger who is supervising a G1 driver have to have 4 years experience with a G? It's 4 years of experience, and that experience starts when they get their G2. So it's G2 and G combined. If you did 3 years as a G2, 1 year as a G, that's 4 years. But wait till you get the 4 dots on your license. Do I have my license handy? No. Bottom right-hand corner to the left of your mini-me photo, you will see 4 dots vertically oriented. That is the indication that you are good to supervise. If you have questions as to whether or not you have enough time under your belt, go to the MTO and have them clarify. Don't guess. Don't assume. Let's see here. Boom, ba-doo, ba-doo. Oh. Judge Shapiro. Having the same last name as a judge from Providence, Rhode Island, but not being related. That would be cool. So it's funny because my kiddo's got a tutor at school whose last name is Shapiro. We're not related. Ben Shapiro is somebody that I'm not aware of being related to, but if he wants to, give me a Hanukkah gift this year, it's okay. I'd accept it. But the deal is that people like I ordered business cards, and the guy from the print shop responded, "Ben, your business cards will be available." So for some reason, he thinks I'm Ben Shapiro. I guess because I'm on the screen. Anyway. What is the general information that comes up when you run a person's plate? The vehicle information, license plate, the address associated with it, the driver that's registered owner of it. If there's anything related to them, like there's licenses is suspended, that kind of stuff. What is this? Is it wrong to have the front plate mounted kind of where the fog lights are? I don't know where your fog lights are. They could be anywhere. Front of the vehicle means front grille, front bumper, left or right side, doesn't matter, but it has to be the front of the vehicle, not behind the windscreen or the windshield. Many people get this wrong. Yeah. And then Gene says it needs to be clearly visible with no obstructions. Absolutely no license plate cover, no frame, nothing. Akela says Restream isn't sharing the comments on YouTube. We only see the YouTube comments. Yes, I disabled that. There was something earlier. It wasn't putting TikTok comments through, like it broke. So I turned off what they call the bot that takes those and reposts them on YouTube. So I actively did that. SK30233 says Toronto cops are overpaid and do nothing. Prove me wrong, please. I don't think that proving you wrong will do anything to change your opinion because I think you are mildly biased. But I will tell you that police officers show up to work. There are calls pending in the queue. It's with the list of people waiting for service, and they leave, and there's still people waiting in queue. And that's because there are a lot of people in Toronto trying to be seen and heard by police officers, and we can only go to one call at a time. And for as many people as we have more calls than we have people, which is why we're hiring. We want more police officers because police officers in Toronto do amazing work and are overworked and underpaid. But again, I don't think there's anything I could say to you that would actually have you recognize or realize the reality of the situation. But yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm looking for another comment. Looking for that comment first so I can find where I am in the list. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Here we go. Gene says go away. And that's just Gene telling that commenter to go away. I appreciate you, Gene. Thanks for standing up for us. Trinity says, I'm curious. Curious about what? How much we make? Because Bobo says how much they make. No punctuation, but I know they. When you get hired, it's about $68,000 while you're at the college, $74,000 when you graduate. A police officer who is with 4 or 5 years experience is looking at about $110,000, $109,000, which is not enough, quite frankly. And now you have police services north of us who are making, I think, $130,000 after all their raises will come in. Like, how much do you think a police officer should make? People say, well, we're paid too much. So what is the correct amount for you? I'm curious to know what people think, putting your life on the line to help other people is worth. And being a skilled, specialist. Gene says it so well. What does it matter what they make? Do you want to do the work? if they do want to do the work, then check it out. www.tps.ca/careers. That's where to go. And actually, if you click on any of the jobs they post. Okay. Did you end up figuring out about the reclaimed? Oh, I didn't, Wilson. This was the question about reclaimed dyed fuel, and I said that the person to ask was Sergeant Campbell, who was here this morning. And then, okay, reclaimed. You never sent me the. Do me a favor. I know we talked about it. Could you go to TrafficCop.ca, click the send me a message button, just so I have your email, and I'll respond to you because I'm going to go see him right now, and I will respond to you if you leave me your email address there. Don't put it here because you don't want people bugging you, but I will respond to you if you can go do that. Why don't we impose a stricter impedance on the highway or laws on the highway? Here's the deal. We can make laws. We don't have enough police officers available to enforce all of them. And the bigger problem on the highways are the speeders, not the people who are doing the speed limit in the left lane. People doing below the speed limit in the left lane is a big issue. What is this? Another dad joke? Third dad joke. Dad joke 3. Okay, it's almost 12. So I would love to continue to dialogue and chat. What is this? This person should go. You got one person who just is so negative. Why so negative? Do some yoga. Apparently it helps. But there's one person who's really negative. I wonder why. I'd block them, but I can't find them. Say something so I can block you. We'll just make a note. We'll block you after. Okay. Now, what else we here? Can you drop off or pick up passengers in a no parking zone? Yeah. Drop off and pick up momentarily is permitted. Okay. Scroll down to see if anything popped in just now. You're not allowed to have a dealership frame. No, you're not. It's still obscuring the plate. Can you pass on a solid line? Crossing the line isn't against the law, not enforceable in Ontario. Other jurisdictions it is. Imagine your tax dollars going to a cop on TikTok Live, educating the public, answering your questions. Who'd have thunk? It's actually amazing, isn't it? And more police officers are doing this in other jurisdictions. It's amazing. Let's see here. Moving to Ontario soon. Thinking of bringing my truck. My truck is modified. What's the rules? I would check the light truck and passenger vehicle inspection guide. Also, I think I've got it linked on TrafficCop.ca. You may need to get it certified here. What is this? How long until self-driving cars take over? That's a really good question. I think we have a long way to go. There's a lot of issues. But I think it's cool. Cat Whisperer thinks cops should make minimum wage. Well, I think you'd find there's no cops if you did that. Way too much school training and risk to be doing it for $15 an hour. And there's also an issue with corruption. Like if you pay someone $15 an hour, there's a potential of a problem. That's why police are generally paid more, I think. That's my personal opinion. Could you imagine giving somebody a power position? Like that's what happens in countries where cops don't make anything. And then you get a ticket, and instead of getting a ticket, they say, pay me. That's why there's corruption in other countries, because can't make a living wage. They're going to do what they got to do. And that's not right. Okay, I think we're going to go into dad jokes. So, Akela Draconis with dad joke 1. While driving with my dad, Pearl Jam came on the radio. He said, it doesn't get any better than these guys. That should have been this. I don't know if that was a good one. It wasn't your best one. You've had better. Why did the turkey cross the road? To prove he wasn't a chicken. That's a reasonable joke. The Grinch has a dad joke. The police said they'd arrest me if I kept telling bad jokes. I stopped because I was scared I would end up in the penitentiary. It's not bad. Are they the best jokes? No. Zombie, although it's one I've heard before, the best ones are, when she talks about the fact that the bathrooms in the police station were stolen and there's now nothing to go on. Police have nothing to go on. I think those are some of the best ones. The one, I think it was Microsoft Word. That joke, that made me laugh a lot. This is going back. Obviously, it's only she and I that know what we're talking about in that situation. It was anyway. My plan is to be here tomorrow unless things change. So I'll say goodbye until then, but I won't be here next week. So if I can, I'll get some podcast stuff. I've filmed a couple of podcasts. My hope was to get them edited. I have not edited them yet. If I can make it happen, I will. If not, I won't. And I will be back the following week. So hopefully we can do a Friday tomorrow, and we'll do the thing that we do. Friday celebrations. Oh, here's a joke. See, I was going to say goodbye, but then that joke came in. Did you hear about the kidnapping at school? Have you heard about the kidnapping at school? It's fine. He woke up. I did not tell that with grace, but it was good. I like it. It's a good joke. All right. With that, I say we'll see you soon. Yeah. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, and smile because it looks good on you. And don't be that guy that was before complaining about everything. Nobody likes him.